Hello, everybody, and welcome to Donkey Kong Country Returns HD for the Nintendo Switch. I already technically have a save file going on, but I'm not going to, of course, play on that said save file because that's already almost 3 worlds in, I guess. So, we'll be starting new. Now, I know that this version of the game gives us some new stuff we can play with, which is modern mode, which basically just makes it to where instead of having 2 hearts, now you have 3. I don't know what items are available for the shop. I have no idea. I've not played the modern version, though. I have played this game on the 3DS, so, it's been a while since I played that one. I don't remember exactly if that also had the same type of change. I think for the sake of just Let's Play sake, I'm going to stick with the original way of playing. And yes, sorry, I'm adjusting everything. Yes, this will be a single-player game only, and I will explain that as I go through this first level, most likely. Whenever the damn game decides to load, if I can just explain it now, I could probably do that too. So, I've always been of the belief that, I love DKC, but I've always been of the belief that DKC is a game series that is better played with friends. I honestly think that, when I first played DKC, I wasn't really so much into it. I was more like, I like DKC enough. I like playing it on my own time. It's kind of fun. I like this little, silly little platformer thing, right? And then I got to a point where something kind of clicked, and I started playing with people, right? And especially, of course, playing with my brother outside of doing YouTube content. And I've done co-op. I think I've done, I don't know, at this point, maybe 2, maybe 3 co-ops of DKC 1, give or take, maybe. I know there was one that was on a completely abandoned live streaming channel, which was named Super D-Pad 64, for those that are curious. That channel was pretty much nuked to the ground and back. I don't even know if, I think, because we had a YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure that everything got uploaded there, so I think that's all done. But that was not a good, that didn't work out very well. And then I did, a long time ago, I've actually did DKC 1 on my channel co-op, long time ago, and then, famously enough, at least I remember hearing really good things about it being a pretty good playthrough, I actually did a Let's Play on my friend's channel. So, of course, you can find his channel, down below. Not in the description, but on my channel, you can still find it. It's the Take Chrono Plays. It should be over there. I do think I still have, because I took some of his videos and put them on my own playlist for the sake of just making it easier to kind of find it. And plus, I'm going to turn on the Game Boy. It's probably like super fucking loud by now. I did that for 2 reasons. One, because I wanted to make sure that I had a way for people on my channel to be able to find that stuff a lot easier, because a lot of people might not know that, in all technicality, that those co-op things even existed to begin with. And second of all, when we first were doing co-op stuff again, as in like when we started Mario 64 on my channel, co-op, which was, I think, like last year, or whichever it was. Okay, so this is not old, this is not old classic DKC, so you can't really roll into enemies, you can't roll into them without Diddy being with you. You can't just keep rolling into them constantly. You will eventually stop. So, a lot of the reason what maybe even do playlist of my own was because he, at the time, was not uploading the videos into their own playlist. Or not uploading, but he wasn't putting any videos into a playlist, so there was no playlist to use. Even if, there was playlists, but they were never really updated very well. They were never just, like I said, had videos getting put into it. So I just kind of just made my own playlist and went with that. Which I think they've been updated on this channel. I'm not sure. I haven't checked in a long time, so I don't know. I'm not specifically sure about those, because that co-op stuff, happened last year. And to be fair, that was a good time for co-op stuff back then. Was starting Mario 64. And also, DKC, we did Mario 64 on my channel, we did DKC on his channel. And that was, in my opinion, like I said, that was That was a good time for co-op stuff. Probably some of the best co-op stuff we've ever done. Hands down, no doubt about it. But for DKC Returns, I've always mentioned, like, oh, it'd be nice if we did a co-op of that, because, like, we eventually did DKC 2 and 3 on my channel, I think, and me and my brother tend to kind of like just playing it casually on our own time and stuff, and sometimes me and my friend will play it casually as well. Sometimes, not all the time. By the way, for those that are wondering, this Let's Play is getting uploaded before Tekken's probably done. Which, yeah, Tekken is done, by the way. I've finished recording all of Tekken stuff. So there's probably a lot of old stuff that I said that were, you know, not very nice, I guess you could say. But they're still there. I had a bad attitude thing going on. A lot of, you know, behind-the-scenes bullshit going on. So, you know how I am with that type of stuff. I just start putting it in my own content, and it happens. But I had all reason to be angry, to be fair. Anyway, yeah, this is being uploaded, well, it'll probably be uploaded tomorrow on the 20th of January of 2025. But, for the most part, this is, like I said, being recorded today at like 8 o'clock at night on the 19th of January. So, there's that. My stomach is really sick. I don't know what it is. I had Jimmy John's earlier. I had like one of their new like kicking ranch stuff or whatever it was called. And I think that's what's probably doing it to me right now, is that whole, that sandwich I had earlier, so I might shit my pants mid-recording, who knows. Anywho, back on topic. So yeah, we did DKC 2 and 3, eventually co-op, I'm pretty sure we did. I'll have to double check it. It gets all confusing when you do so much co-op stuff, that it becomes like, okay, what have we done and what have we not done? You know what I mean? And this was one of the ones that I've always kind of thought about in the back of my head, like, oh man, it'd be a lot of fun to do it because it's DKC, but at the same time, it's also DKC Returns. And Returns, for me, is a very notorious game to be doing, just in general. And I know a lot of people tend to kind of not like this game nearly as much as they like, you know, maybe the older ones, or maybe they, you know, don't like it as much as they like, you know, Tropical Freeze, for example, which I would like to do Tropical Freeze. I would like to do Tropical Freeze. Maybe possibly even this year. I don't know. No promises, but I would like to do it. Anywho, so this was always in the back of my mind of like, oh, it'd be cool if we did that. Because like, this is technically the fourth DKC game, right? This is technically the fourth of them. So it'd be nice to see that. But my issue is, this is not a very good co-op game. This is one of those things where, yes, you could argue like this is the DK version of New Super Mario Brothers, where like, oh, it's supposed to be hectic. It's supposed to be chaotic. It's supposed to be wild and weird. You're not really supposed to cooperate together. You're supposed to, like, you know, fight each other and stuff. This doesn't work that way, in my opinion. I don't know if that was the way it was supposed to be designed in the first place. I don't know if it's supposed to be designed to be, you know, DK's answer. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have broken that. God damn it. I don't think this was technically supposed to be designed to be DK's answer to the age-old question of, should this or should this not be a new Super Mario Brothers type clone game, quote-unquote, like Rayman Legends, where Rayman Legends is essentially basically new Super Mario Brothers, but with Rayman, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. Origins, I guess, technically started that, but I'm more familiar with, like, Legends, because that was mostly the one I played back in the day. I didn't really play Origins until, like, way later. Well, I did play Origins with my friend at one point in time, but that was, like, a long time ago, which, not gonna lie, I do kind of miss doing stuff, but like I said, things are just, yeah. Things are the way they are. You know, things be how they is. But, yeah, so, sorry, my stomach's about to explode. Back on topic, I guess. Yeah, like, I don't know if this exactly, again, was the answer to that for DK, and honestly, even if it was, like, I don't really feel like it was a good answer to that. I feel like Returns is not a very good chaotic game. I don't think it's like a game you really want to be chaotic in, you know what I mean? Like, because, okay, let me tell you this. So basically, you have two main characters here. There's no extra characters. It's just Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. It's basically, again, how the original games used to be, at least in terms of DKC 1. Because for those that are familiar with it, DKC 2 was Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong, his girlfriend, were together. Those were the two playable characters. Dixie had the ability to fly, and Diddy was just the speed character. Back in DKC 1, Donkey Kong was like the heavy character who could jump on like the heavier enemies, whereas Diddy couldn't, but Diddy was also the speed character. Typically the character that you really want to play a lot of, especially if you're playing single player. You typically play a lot of Diddy just because of the fact of, like, I don't know what it is, but, you know, his speed plus his rolling always felt like it was a powerful roll. It always felt like it was something, like, quick and nimble to kind of get through, and it always made sense for platforming. As for DK, it's just more so like, oh, it's just DK. And I usually play DK because, you know, I'm usually, I tend to be player 1 in a lot of those cases, or a lot of things, especially toward, like, you know, fighting games and what have you. I tend to be usually player 1 for that kind of stuff. But yeah, so with DKC 3, it kind of returned back to norm with Kiddy Kong and Dixie Kong being together. So Dixie became kind of sort of like the quote-unquote fast and nimble one, whereas Kiddy became like kind of like the heavy powerhouse one. And of course, I would end up being Kiddy in those instances because that's just, you know, what made more sense. I was already playing Donkey Kong in the original games anyway, so why not? When it came to, like, playing with friends or whatever. And so, even though, like, Dixie still had her ability to fly, by the way, just saying. And then when it came to DKC Returns, as you can no doubt tell, it's just Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong, but there's something different about it. Because of that element that Dixie had, the ability to fly, I would assume, I didn't work at Retro Studios, I don't know. I would assume, at the very least, that most likely, they probably decided to implement a flying mechanic for Diddy Kong because of Dixie Kong. And it pays off. You know, it's great. It's a great idea. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm just saying that, you know, when it comes to a co-op situation, like, yes, Diddy can fly, but as you can tell, when you're playing single player, or even sometimes in multiplayer, if you hang on to Diddy Kong, which is something that you can do, you can, like, double grab, press, like, both, I think, shoulder buttons, if you're playing Diddy Kong by himself. But only player 2 can play Diddy Kong. I cannot play Diddy Kong at all, by the way. I'm playing single player, I cannot play Diddy Kong. But yeah, if whoever's playing Diddy Kong can grab on to, of course, you know, Donkey Kong, and that will give us the ability of flight together, which, as you can tell, like, during single player, it's basically just almost essential to have Diddy Kong on your back. It's essential that you have this the entire time for the most part. And I feel like Returns does work fine enough without Diddy Kong being on your back, but at the same time, I would much rather play the entire game with Diddy Kong on my back, and that's why I personally feel like this is a really good single-player game only, because of that. Because I don't want to have to force my friends into hanging on to my back the entire time, because at that point, it's still a single-player game, right? The multiplayer aspect of it just kind of disappears if I'm forced to essentially have to play that way. Then there's no point in the multiplayer. That's what I'm trying to get at. It'd be better off if I just played single player. And technically speaking, the same thing goes with Tropical Freeze. And Tropical Freeze adds two other characters. Well, technically Funky Kong, I guess. Funky's more of like his own thing. I think he can fly and all that shit by himself. And I believe he comes with 3 hearts, I think it was. Anyway, so you have not only Diddy Kong, who already has the jetpack ability to fly, but now you have Dixie Kong, who has kind of like a quote-unquote double jump fly, which I think she doesn't glide. I think it's just more so like it's just a double jump, really, more so than anything. And she's definitely one of the... She's definitely one of the best options to have. Then there's Cranky Kong, who essentially is the Scrooge McDuck of the game, if you guys are familiar with DuckTales, which did get remastered, so, I'm not that old. I should have jumped on them. I actually would have gotten banana medals. That's another mechanic I can explain in just a minute, but let me try to do what I can here real quick just to grab some stuff. But yeah, Tropical Freeze still kind of suffers from the whole, it's better as a single-player game, in my opinion. You can play it multiplayer if you want to, but there's a lot of times where it's like, okay, we have to kind of work together. We're going to have to, like, get on my back, and then I have to take control. And like I said before, like, at that point, we're just essentially playing a single-player game, or at the very least, I am. Also, not sure why some levels have, like, only 5 or, 9 puzzle pieces or whatever. I mean, obviously, it's got to be because, like, oh, well, the levels are shorter, so, therefore, there'll be 5. Yeah, I get that, but for me personally, it would have been nice to have at least a little bit of consistency with, just having, like, a total, like, 6 or 7 throughout each level or whatever, which I could have sworn they did, but maybe that's, like, Tropical Freeze that did that. I'm not really sure. It's been a while since I played Tropical Freeze. So, mechanically speaking, you guys have probably noticed, I've been doing a lot of stuff that, if you're familiar with DKC returns in general, because a lot of this stuff is DKC return stuff, then you'll probably no doubt know what's going on. Especially if you've seen, like, a lot of just DKC, whether it be Let's Plays or whether it be, yeah, I know it's not going to make that. Whether it be Let's Plays or it's speedrun stuff. And I'm not a speedrunner of this game, so I'm not going to be able to, like, speedrun very well. I just play the way that I normally play, and just to kind of just get it out there, will this be 100%? That's not the plan. If it happens, it happens. If I get close to wanting to do it, and I'm like, oh, I could probably do it, then, I'll consider that later down the line. But yeah, just to explain how DKC Returns works differently than the older Country series. So first of all, the whole backpack mechanic, or the whole, Diddy being on my back mechanic, that's new. It does exactly what you see it do. It's pretty much just, I can't play Diddy Kong by himself. Even if I were to die as Donkey Kong, I cannot play as Diddy. It would have been cool if they implemented that in this version of the game. That would have been cool, but I cannot do that. Diddy, of course, allows you to hover, and that's just, extremely good, especially for a game like this, which kind of has a lot of very, not super precise platforming bits, but there's a lot of parts in this game that tend to be kind of a little bit more difficult to land a jump if I was just Donkey Kong by himself. But if I actually have Diddy Kong with me, I can make a bit more precise platforming. Like for example, I could probably have just landed on top of him and then made this platform a lot easier to get on if I had just used Diddy at the right time. Something else. So, the Kong letters are back, and they're better than ever. So, essentially, instead of getting a life for every Kong collectible that you get, as in, like, when you spell it out, instead of getting, an extra life, now it's turned into basically a collectible. So, I think you get art from it or some crap like that. Bonus stages make a return, and they've been changed just a tad. They're relatively about close to the same idea, except a lot of them tend to be just like, oh, go through this level and collect all the bananas. That's pretty much a lot of these bonus stages. And then usually when you finish them, you get these puzzle pieces, which this is a completely new collectible anyway. If you wanted to be a little pedantic about it, I guess, you could argue that technically speaking, they're kind of like the cameras from DKC, the Game Boy version, where essentially, like, they are technically, like, the collectibles of the game, so to speak. So you could argue that, and I don't know where I lost a puzzle piece at, so I have no idea. This is also something new, too. DK barrels at the end to finish off a level. You either get bananas, a life, banana medals, or you can get, like, that thing where you mash both the punch buttons together, and then you can get, what was it, bananas, I think, out of it, like a bunch of bananas out of it. I don't remember. Anyway, a lot of this stuff is very self-explanatory, I know, but I just like to, I like to talk. There's also items you can buy. You can buy lives. You can buy, like, invincibility stuff. You can buy squawks to help you find, puzzle pieces and what have you. So there's that. They're just collectibles. That's, for the most part, that's what it is. DKC Returns is, without a doubt, a full-on DKC game. You can play the game without having to worry about too much, if anything, really, if you wanted to. If you just want to play it like your normal, average, everyday DKC, you can do that. So something else that's also here, bananas, they've returned as well, of course. They're basically just something much needed. Hearts are, for the most part, technically a thing, because back in the old games, if you die as a character, you tend to kind of just be dead. Banana medals allow you to buy items in the shop. This slam move is not necessarily new. It's not new at all, like, to be honest, because, like, technically speaking, Donkey Kong did have a slam move back in the original game. However, its usefulness was very, well, varied, to be fair, and now they've actually made more use of it in this game, where what pretty much allows you to not only just stun enemies, but at the same time be able to break things that need to be broken. And you can also, of course, you know, do a little breath thing if you hit down and Y. Basically, it just lets you breathe onto something, and then you could just, you know, blow out dandelions, or maybe launch up I don't know, like pinwheels or something. Anything of the sort that requires breathing, you know, breathing on it or whatever. There's these things that you just break open. Checkpoints are back, but now they look a little bit different. DK barrels are basically just, once again, the same thing. Also, slam right here, and then you can activate this. We'll watch you come down here. And don't worry, you'll eventually come back up. And the lives, they're back as well. The red balloons, you know, are 1 lives. And I think this game still has the life counter thing of, oh god, what is it? Like the 2 lives and 3 lives? I think so. Well, you can buy a 7 life balloon in the store. So in all technicality, you don't really realistically need those types of balloons in the actual environments themselves. But if you wanted, I mean, I think they might exist. I don't remember. It's been a while since, it's been a hot minute since I've played this. But yeah, something else real quick about the banana medals. If you chain your jumps, after once you've landed like the 3rd jump, you'll start getting banana medals. And after that, it's just pretty much just over and over again. Think like Mario, you know, Brothers 1. Or like original Mario Brothers, where if you keep jumping on somebody, you'll eventually just get like 1-ups after 1-ups after 1-ups if you keep that going. And as like my dad likes to remind us, like, you know, back in the day, there was like that one turtle thing, you know, the turtle thing with the Koopa, where you can pretty much get like that whole, you know, almost nigh infinite lives glitch or whatever going on, where you just put them in a corner and then hit them that way. Okay, so for this part right here, I've learned my lesson from last time I was playing this, because I played this when I got it this weekend, which, you know, yeah, I actually bought both this and Dynasty Warriors Origins, like I was talking about I was going to do, and I'm all the better for it, because I love DKC Returns to an extent. I still like this game. I'm having a lot of fun playing it right now, of course, and I keep missing fucking puzzle pieces. I don't know where they're at. But yeah, I like DKC Returns, but I will tell you this for sure. Buying Dynasty Warriors Origins was both a good thing and a bad thing, because one, it was a great buy because it was a great game. It was a great Warriors game, and that's the problem. It was such a good Warriors game. Like, I mean, I still prefer, like, Hyrule Warriors, you know, I prefer, like, a lot of other Warriors, like, older ones, too. However, this one was, like, top tier, like, top of the notch. They put some shit into it, man. I have my problems with it, of course. I'm not going to talk about that here too much. At least not right now. I don't feel like doing it. Maybe later. Maybe even later in the episode. Who knows? But right now I don't feel like talking about it too much. But let's just say that it was good. And we are so back when it comes to Warriors content. Because, man, we've been kind of in a drought for a while. Like, yes, 3 Hopes was fine. But I'm talking about, like, in my opinion, really high quality stuff. I feel like we haven't gotten that for a while. And even if you were to argue, like, well, 3 Hopes is pretty high quality, that's fine. You know, if you like 3 Hopes, that's fine. I don't hate 3 Hopes. I don't know. I don't know. It's something about it. I haven't really gotten to the point where I've liked it yet. You know what I mean? I haven't really found that part of it that's like, wow, I really enjoy this a lot. Not quite yet. One thing I will find, I was about to say, like, didn't I just say, like, I didn't want to talk about things I didn't like? I guess I can talk about one thing. You can't really play other characters. You can, kind of, but it's only for, like, a temporary thing. Like, you have to, you know, have that character selected in your change character thing, and only when they're allowed to be changed into. And even then, it only lasts for a while, because you just get Muso Rage with it, and then that's basically it. It's essentially just like another free Ultimate, another free Muso. If you guys are familiar with, the Muso games. So, yeah, if you fuck up, this is what happens. And typically, a lot of the time, you'll end up getting, like, 100 bananas whenever you go into those little areas. I think you can technically do it again. Yes. No? I guess we can't. I was going to say, I'll try anything I can to do it. Alright, fine. I guess I fucked up enough, so let's just continue on. Let's just play the game. I'm not too worried about it 100%. I would love to do it, but I'm not like, wow, it's going to kill me if I don't do it type thing. I'm here to have fun, and, you know, I'm pretty sure you guys probably are as well. You just want to see somebody just play DKC Returns, which I get that. I'll try to go for 100% the best I can, and then, you know, if I finish this Let's Play before I finish my own playthrough, then I could just copy this one over and then just do all that stuff my way. But anywho, yeah, I kind of wish you had, you know, multiple characters you can play, but you really technically can't. It's fine, but it was a thing I was kind of hoping for, you know, hearing all about, like, oh, there's, like, this many characters, like 40-some characters in the game or whatever. When in reality, it's like, nah, not really. By the way, that barrel right there, that second-to-last barrel, that's a trick barrel. So essentially, like, you could just keep mashing B, or the jump button, for a while. For, like, 3 barrels worth or something like that. And then after, like, that third one, then they'll hit you with the good old-fashioned, like, oh, well, now it's going to do that thing where it's going to change, you know, left, right, make you worried about, like, you know, how you're firing or what have you. But anyway, so, yeah, Dynasty Warriors, we've not seen a really, really good Dynasty Warriors. In my opinion, in terms of Dynasty Warriors itself, like mainline Dynasty Warriors, we've not had a good Dynasty Warrior since 8. So, 8 was my favorite out of the Dynasty Warriors. Samurai Warriors 5, I remember, weirdly enough, I remember not liking it too much. I thought it was fine, but I was a dumbass who just didn't appreciate what we had. I never really cared much for the triangle thing. And then, funny enough, Warriors of Orochi, you know, I've played 3, and I have 4. I have 1. I own both 4 and 1, and I somehow have 4 on PlayStation. I have no fucking clue how that happened. But I do have 4 physically on Switch, because I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I'll buy it on Switch. Why the hell not? Like a doofus, I guess you could say. Only to find out that I think I might have actually accidentally bought it on PlayStation digitally, too, and just forgot. Which has happened before in the past, but who knows? Who cares? I now have it physically, so it's cool. But yeah, I didn't even like Warriors of Orochi for a while until, like, just recently. I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, I see it. Like, I get it. So maybe Warriors All-Stars might be the same thing in that case as well, because I fucking remember I despised All-Stars back in when I first played it. So who knows? It's possible things can change. I mean, heck, I used to despise Dynasty Warriors just in general, you know? For Gundam 1 and 2, like, Gundam 1 is just kind of boring in terms of a lot of environment stuff, but yeah. Gundam 3 and Reborn are great, though. And funny enough, I used to not like One Piece Pirate Warriors 1. But then after playing it again, after playing, you know, more and more Dynasty Warriors, like main stuff, I'm like, ooh. Pirate Warriors 1 was never bad. I was just an idiot that just only really liked 2 and 3 more. Because, you know, in my opinion, those are the better games. Through and through. But yeah, like I said, we haven't had like a really good one. We've had games, like, you know, the spin-off parts of them. And I know, you know, Omega Force was working on Fate Remnant. So that was a thing. And then, of course, like I said, there was 3 Hopes for Fire Emblem, which I much prefer the original Fire Emblem Warriors. And then Hyrule Warriors had Age of Calamity, which, again, you could probably take a wild guess. Didn't care too much for that one either. But I think that's probably enough about Warrior stuff for now, because I can yap on that for, like, ages, man. You can ask anybody and they'll be like, yeah, he could probably go on forever, but that shit... That's such a hard letter to get. Why is it always the N is, like, always the hardest one for some reason, like, in every goddamn Donkey Kong game ever? Oh, well, I guess I just died completely. Okay, cool. Also, your puzzle pieces do save. So you don't have to re-get them again if you don't want to. However, the Kong letters will disappear. You have to get them back. And yeah, a lot of minecart sections are like just one and done. If you fuck up, you kind of just get killed, and obviously you don't want that to happen. Yeah, back to DKC. So what's my history with DKC Returns? At the very least, returns-wise. So... I fucked up again. We're at the end. I'll just take it. Just enjoy the scenery. Until I have to jump. Oh, okay. And then once you see these broken, that's basically a good sign that you're pretty much just done and you're ready to go. So there you go. So I played the Wii version first, just like anybody else. It took a while before I really actually played the game. The game was out for a good while before I actually owned it myself. And I don't remember where I think I got a copy at GameStop, I want to say. I think so. When they used to sell Wii games, like before like they completely went to shit. Some places still sell old games, yes, but this was like my GameStop, which fuck my GameStop, by the way, I hate it. Yeah, I bought this at, I'm pretty sure, at my GameStop, and when, like I said, when they still had Wii games around for a while. And then I played on the Wii. I liked it enough, but not enough to where like I really enjoyed it. However, I remember watching Spike Vegeta, of all people, play DKC Returns a lot. I used to watch a lot of his speedruns of DKC Returns, and you know, I liked it. I liked watching him play it, so it got me quite invested in wanting to play it, of course, and because I knew about it beforehand, but I never really, you know, played them too much. I might have played it with a friend, that kind of thing, beforehand. Whether he actually owned, you know, a copy or not, I think it was just more so like a potential, like, oh, well, the usual way of playing older Wii games, you know, how that goes. But yeah, so later on down the road, DKC Returns on 3DS comes out. The HD version for 3DS comes out. And I spent years not buying it. And then I finally just caved in. I bought it for, I think, like the 40 or so price tag or whatever it was for. And I don't think I've beaten it, actually. I think I still haven't beaten it. I'm pretty sure that came after Tropical Freeze, I believe. Which I bought Tropical Freeze, I want to say, around the time when it came out. I think I was pretty sort of excited for Tropical Freeze. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm ready for this. This will be a fun one. And it turned out to be pretty good. You know, I mean, I'm still of the belief that I prefer the levels in Returns more than I do Tropical Freeze. Also, if you hear me clicking and clacking random buttons, I have that Pikachu Pro Controller thing for the Switch, and it's got these weird back buttons that you can, like, you know, put modifications for, you know, games and stuff in, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, you have to wait to hit that button. If you hit it too early, then it just skips it. It doesn't do anything too special. It just gives you like, oh, here's a cool little score, like a little cool high score thing for you. But yeah, so played Returns on 3DS because I always wanted Returns to get off the Wii. Because I don't mind Wii platformers or whatever, but the problem was it was a fucking Wii platformer, which means that, you know, you would hope that it could use Classic Controller, and it couldn't. It never could. You're stuck mostly using the Wiimotes, you know, because you have to use them to like shake and make things, you know, get hit, to do the slam attack, right? So it was on the Wii forever. Then I got the 3DS version. I'm like, well, I don't want just like the 3DS version, because like I want to be able to, you know, play with my friends and stuff. Like we could play together, which is funny because I still prefer it as a single player game, but I still want that option to be able to play. And I don't want them to have to go get, you know, a 3DS copy or whatever just to play multiplayer that way. So it ended up being like, okay, well, this is nice for a single player experience on 3DS, but still on 3DS, and I'm not that big of a fan of the 3DS version of it, technically speaking. So, you know, I'll take what I can get, I guess. And then, just like I said, I don't think I beat it, which sucks, and I'm stupid for that, but still, I'll get around to it at some point. Don't worry, it's fine. It's DKC Returns on 3DS, it's alright. Also, speaking of which, a lot of the difference between this game and the Tropical Freeze is the very fact that Tropical Freeze is a lot shorter. It is a ton shorter. There was one point in time, you guys didn't get to see it because I didn't actually I didn't stream it, but I actually marathoned a couple of Christmases ago, Christmas Eve. I did a marathon of my own time, a playthrough of all of the DKCs, all the mainline ones, of course, you know, not counting like Donkey Kong Land or anything like that. I did all those before Christmas, and then I think on Christmas, because I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning by the time I got done doing everything, I think. But anyway, so yeah, I did all that on my own free time, and man, Returns was really goddamn long. Like, really goddamn long. Also, this part sucks, by the way. So, when and where does multiplayer effectively work best? Well, for shit like this. This is one of the few times where multiplayer is something that is almost impossible to do without. Because that right there, that is a puzzle piece that you can get, and it is extremely difficult to get as a single player thing. I've never once been able to do it, by myself. And it sucks. Yeah, okay, so back to Tropical Freeze. Like, Tropical Freeze, for whatever reason, is a lot shorter. And, honestly, I kind of feel like playing it again. Now that I'm playing through Returns, like, I wouldn't mind playing it again. So maybe we might end up doing an actual Let's Play of it, or I might just play it in my own time, who knows. Or both. You know how it goes, anything can happen. I was trying to see if I collect those bananas, see if that gives me anything. Because sometimes in this game, collecting, yeah, well, it wasn't really much of it. It was just a medal, but still. By the way, if there's nowhere to go and the camera is just kind of center focused on whatever platform you're on at that time, that's usually a good indicator that you have to slam there. So keep that in mind. By the way, the beach world, yes, it's exactly what you think it is. It's going to be technically this game's water level sections. Are they completely terrible? No. I mean, in all technicality, like, for the most part, water levels aren't really much of a thing in this game. Like, the classic way of doing a water level is not really much, as it used to be. There's hardly any swimming around, if any. As I know for a fact, Tropical Freeze had swimming. Tropical Freeze, level design-wise, is so fucking weird. I mean, again, I like the game. I just, it's the levels that kind of bugs me. Just design-wise, like how they made the levels play out. And on top of that, just the way they look, too. There's something about it that just kind of look gross to me, but that's just my own opinion, so, don't get too angry that I'm spouting off my own bullshit. Yeah, this is a lot harder than it looks sometimes when you're doing that one back there. So I do mean that when I say like that one's really difficult to do without a buddy helping you around. Even then, you guys can still kind of easily fuck it up too, so you gotta be careful. Also, whenever you land on somebody, it resets your jump, so you can technically do a glide right after. Very nice. This is how you make a fucking platformer. Okay? You make it very friendly, unless you're trying to be a dick. You make it really friendly to the player and allowing them to get, like, cancels and resets and stuff on certain things. Allowing them the speed of motion and what have you, if that's what your game is trying to kind of go for or invoke, is very helpful. But yeah, I was going to say, the first goddamn level of Tropical Freeze, the first level is a water level. Yeah, the first thing you do is you got that cool music thing, you burst out of the plane or whatever, then you slide down that slide and straight into a water section. You swim. You don't even platform first. No, I think you platform first, maybe, but you swim first for the most part. That's what DKC Tropical Freeze starts off as. That's crazy. That's so wild to me. Also, another thing too is I was kind of hoping that the Switch version would fix a lot of these problems with the loading times. And as we've no doubt seen right now, that is definitely not the case. They have not fixed much of anything. Graphically speaking, it looks better than the Wii one, just by a tad. Like, especially like with this, like the smoke, or not just the smoke, but the air lines, like the speed lines whenever you're dashing and stuff. That does look quite nice. I'll give it that. There's no doubt about that. However, I do feel like there's too much motion blur going on. That's kind of, for me, kind of hard to see especially like in the background, like what's going on. I can't really focus on much. I know things are coming. I can still see them, thank God. Which, by the way, if you're making a game, can you make it to where, like, I can see what the fuck's going on? I don't want this to be another, you know, God of War Ascension type thing where they just keep panning out the camera and then nobody can see what's happening on screen. Really, really annoying shit. Which, by the way, I'm kind of glad that that's at least done with. Holy moly, that was annoying. However, I still have, like, Chains of Olympus and, of course, Ascension to do on hardcoring if I ever get around to doing those, if I feel like doing them. I think I fucked up. We found it. Okay, cool. Yeah, some levels are like this, where you got these background barrels. Pretty easy stuff. Nothing too crazy. Also, yes, returning from DKC, like the original classic games, you can do a roll jump. Well, as in, hold on. I think this is one of those ones you have to use for something, don't you? Maybe not. No, I think you just use it on those guys. Just in case. I knew it really wasn't, but I was just doing it just in case. But yeah, roll jumping, I mean, like, basically, you'll roll off a platform like this, and then you can jump midair off a platform. Very, very handy crap. No doubt about it. And again, hearts are technically new, because in all technicality, like, we never really had them before. And this right here is why having a Diddy Kong on your back at all times is great. And yes, Diddy will stay with you, as you guys have no doubt seen. Diddy will stay with you through levels. But of course, if you lose him, then you have to get him again. And usually, a DK barrel is already, you know, awaiting you before that even happens. So, thank goodness for that. But yeah, I now own 3 copies of Donkey Kong Country Returns. At least in my case, they're all different versions of the game, so it's not all that bad. I've bought them throughout the year because, as you can tell, I just like Donkey Kong Country, man. I like playing with friends. I like playing it by myself. Sometimes I just whip out Donkey Kong Country just because. Now, in all technicality, in terms of difficulty, that's something that's also been kind of sort of weakened as the games have gone by. Like, back in the day, I'd even argue, like, even to an extent, even 3 had at least a plethora of difficulty. Or at least, not a plethora, but it had enough. It had just enough, you know, difficulty to make it obvious, like, okay, yeah, this is still a Donkey Kong Country game, no doubt about it. But with Returns and Tropical Freeze, especially Tropical Freeze, not even because of Funky Mode, the Switch, oh my god, I forgot about that. I have, okay, I used to have a copy of the Wii U version. I don't think I have it anymore, but for Tropical Freeze, I do have the Switch version. I used to have, like I said, I used to have the Wii U one. Probably got rid of it like a fucking idiot. Alright, anyway. So, don't worry, I know there's a thing there, don't worry. I'm not stupid. I can see it. And, yeah, check every corner, typically. That's kind of how this whole thing works. So, yeah, regardless of Funky Mode being a thing, I do honestly feel like these games are way easier to play, level-to-level basis, than the earlier Donkey Kongs. And this game's made by Retro Studios, which is great, because those are the people behind Metroid Prime and stuff. And I'm pretty sure, like, Turok and shit, I think, too, like, didn't they used to be Acclaim? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, yeah, by the way, I buy these keys so I can get that unlocked level. I'll try to play every level I can. You do have, of course, you know, items. You can have an extra heart for just the one level or whatever. You can have, like, somebody, you know, Squawks will help you find stuff. There are hardly any animal buddies anymore. It's just mainly Rambi. Rambi's the only effectively actually used buddy. He's the only one that is technically used as a regular animal buddy. Squawks is just essentially just what he is. He's just gonna be the same old Squawks. No, not even that. He's not the same old Squawks. What the fuck am I talking about? He's not the same Squawks as he was before. He has now been destroyed completely and turned into this basically a character that can just kind of help you find puzzle pieces, like I said. Also, yeah, if guys are on fire, you can breathe them out. This is the first time we see that. I think Blue Fire is one of those ones where you can't do that with, if I remember correctly. So I think we might have missed something, I don't know. Alright, so these stages are quite fun. If you see a pack of bananas like this, go for the big ones, like the 5 packs. Because a lot of the time, you might end up finding something like that. Now, I didn't get the pack of fives. I didn't get them together, yes, but sometimes that'll happen. Sometimes, I keep want to call it jiggy. Sometimes, a lot of the time, usually a puzzle piece will appear if you do a certain sequence of banana collecting. So, if you have an idea of like, oh, that might probably be it, then there you go. Also, if you die here, they'll respawn a rocket barrel that you can just jump back into. Nothing too big, nothing too hard. These levels are actually quite fun. And in order to do them, you just have to like slightly tap B. You know, if you hold B, you go up. If you let go, you go down. It's kind of like that. I about to say like Crash Purple, but I don't think that happened in Crash Purple. I think you just control it normally. But either way, I actually like these levels. I've always kind of enjoyed these. The minecart stuff in DKC is always kind of fun. Except for maybe like DKC 2 in my opinion, and especially 3 when 3's screen. Nothing wrong with 3 inherently. It's just like 3's when you're doing those levels. The screen is... It's got this weird blur to it that makes me sick when I look at it. Like, physically ill when I do it. And I feel like a game like this right now is like... Sometimes it kind of does the same thing with like things in the background as well, where just... Some things will just blur together and it just makes it look not that great to look at. No, it's still graphically a good looking game by itself, but in motion it kind of fucks with my head. Alright, bonus stage. Not every stage has a bonus stage, I don't think. Well, maybe, I think there's at least one every stage, give or take. By the way, when you blast out these barrels, yes, you can control kind of where you're going. But take your time with them. You got like 30 seconds. It's not a big deal. Alright, so that's the end of the level. And honestly, at this point, I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to end it here. So, yeah. We got more banana mills. Try to get that every time, because if you want to buy all the levels, you know, there's only one secret level usually per world. Well, hold on. No, there might be more than that, actually. I forget. I'm getting my tropical freezes mixed up with my returns. But I'm pretty sure that there's like... Oh, that's right. There's those fucking temple things. Yeah, so it was this goddamn game. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed Donkey Kong Country Returns for the Switch. And, of course, I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, take care, everybody.